Welcome back to the sweet cream spot. I'm the cream machine, the delicious Nicolicious.
And I'm Corncob Rob. They call me that not because my dick's as big as a corn cob, but it's yellow and bumpy, so I could run with it.
This episode of the Brohio podcast is brought to you by your mom's dildo, so you can go fuck yourself.
Hey.
I don't know. Bumpy corn dick. If you've got a bumpy corn dick, send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear about it. If this is your first time joining us here at the Brohio podcast, we're mean, we're green, we're cruel, we're unusual, we're dark, we're scary. Something's wrong with us, but if you like to dabble on the dark side, you get down with the devil. You've come to the right place. And for those of you that are skipping the Daytona 500 and Monday Night Raw, thank you for, after, you would be fucking your sister after that, but thanks for coming and joining us for this beautiful podcast.
I didn't even know Daytona 500 was going on.
Oh, don't play me like I'm some kind of stupid idiot. I knew you were giving me an attitude for 24 hours when I said, hey, Rob, you want to do it on Monday? And then as soon as the Daytona got canceled, you had a huge, nasty attitude.
Yeah. I'm white, but I'm not watching the Daytona 500 white.
Rob has a Monte Carlo pace car, a 97.
An IROC Z.
He practices doing backflips off the top of it like Dale Earnhardt did. Or I don't even know which guy did the backflips.
I don't know.
So if you are skipping the Daytona 500, thank you so much. And America. There's a lot of America in this podcast. There's a lot of not of America in this podcast too. We're kind of almost terrorists practically. We're mental terrorists for sure.
That's definite.
Let's cover these patrons real quick. Adam Hot Leg and Gray Houghton, thank you so much for coming to our Patreon.
Angie with the raccoon on her shoulder. Thank you, Angie.
I just thought that was pigtails. It's a fucking raccoon. You're
It's
right.
a raccoon.
Angie Daniel Boone Taylor, thank you for your Patreon pledge. Mindy, thank you, Mindy, for your patron pledge.
James Jupp, who I'm pretty sure, judged off his pictures, probably a juggalo.
He definitely smokes marijuanas. Skylar, thank you, Skylar, for your Patreon pledge.
Austin Gerald Canfora, thank you very much.
Ava Lucia Schock, you are very, very hollowed in the Brohio land. Thank you for your Patreon pledge.
Santiago Torres Ochoa.
You got it.
Thank you.
Liz Hart, thank you, Liz Hart. And then, last but not least, we got Chad Conaway down here. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/BrohioPodcast. And one thing we missed last week, because I was in Phoenix taking care of my wife's grandfather. He has dementia, and we're working through some stuff with that. And with him, I did do an episode with him that I haven't edited yet. I'm going to put it up soon. Couple different things I did put on the Facebook page. I pooped almost immediately upon getting down there.
Yeah.
Both fucking toilets filled to the brim. And I was so panicked. One bathroom did not have a plunger.
Weak toilets down there.
I think it's just because I'm a big old corn-fed Midwestern boy.
You think they'd be stronger because of all the Mexican food that's down there.
But you would think that, but then there's this new drive-thru popping up everywhere, this fast food restaurant. It's just called Salads. And I said, Stacy, remind me not to eat at that fucking place. Because I want none of that right there.
Maybe it's because whenever you eat so much Mexican food, your shit's runny.
It is.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, or they just run out and shit in the desert. They just shit in the sand on top of a rattlesnake.
Bury it.
Yeah. So I have nothing but love for the state of Arizona, but I have nothing but hatred for your toilets because I clogged them bitches up and filled them up.
And whatever chain restaurant's called Salads.
The second one was at her grandfather's house, and I've had some go-rounds with that one before, that was nothing new.
You already knew what was going on.
I take a coat hanger in there with me when I go to use that bathroom. But when I flush it, it's not a normal toilet where it's just like, when I flush that one, it's like, fuck you. It talks to you. It gets so clogged up, it curses at you.
Oh, shit.
There was, I like Phoenix, man. I like the weather down there. It's the middle of February, and it was 78 degrees.
Nice.
My tits were sweating so bad, man.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, though.
God, it is. It's good. I liked it.
It's getting better here, too, so, I mean, hey.
Yeah, it's breaking. The weather's breaking here in Ohio.
It's trying.
It is. So sometimes we talk about happy stuff. Sometimes we talk about sad stuff.
Yeah, we got to bring down the mood a little.
Next one is very sad. Let me, this is a clip from the Dark Webs episode. Let's go ahead and play this clip for you guys real quick. No, we have a lot of people that listen that use us they listen in times of things are bad, the trials and tribulations of life. Sometimes you need something you need a crutch to help you get through.
Yeah.
And sometimes at the end of the day, I sit down, I'm like, man, today sucked. But then we get stuff like this. I'm like,
keep going.
People like this are far more courageous than us. They're doing a lot better things. But this is from our friend Kelly. Kelly wrote a message that says, "Hey guys, I just want to thank you both so much. I was diagnosed with a very rare type of cancer called Ewing sarcoma a couple weeks ago. Whenever I'm feeling down or going through my treatments, you guys never fail to put a smile on my face. It's been really tough, but for whatever reason, you both make it so much more bearable. I've been listening to you since the very beginning of your journey with this podcast, and I'm so happy you guys will be with me during my journey with cancer. It's hard. It's only going to continue to get harder. I'm going to lose a couple of my ribs, but please never stop podcasting so I can continue to laugh with you guys until the day I say I beat cancer. Keep it up and never change who you are."
So, very sweet.
Kelly, the entire Brohio Nation is behind you. We're behind you. We're happy to be there for you in your time that you're going through this. You are going to kick cancer's ass.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're going to be there hopefully every Tuesday morning.
We do our best.
We do our best.
We try.
We try. But unfortunately, we got this email a couple days ago from, I believe it's Nate. Not 100% sure. It said, he said, "Hey dudes," Nate or Noah? It might be Noah. Sure. "Hey dudes, don't know if you'll ever read this, but I just wanted to reach out and thank you guys. Not sure if you remember, but a few months ago, my girlfriend Kelly Wilhelm emailed you guys about how much she loved listening to the show during chemo and radiation, and how she was able to find comfort and happiness during the long hospital stays through listening to the show. You guys even read her message and gave her a shout out in one episode, which was beyond awesome, and she was so excited to show me. Unfortunately, my sweet Kelly succumbed to her cancer and passed away last month, completely unexpectedly, on January 15th. I just wanted to thank you guys for everything you've done for us, but especially for her, without even knowing it. You've provided us with countless hours of entertainment, as well as lots and lots of laughs, which is something that can be rather hard to come by while going through cancer treatments. Even on our worst days, we could always throw an episode, and within minutes, we would both be cracking up hysterically. You made my sweet girl's time in the hospital tolerable, and for that, I cannot even begin to express my gratitude. Sorry to get all sappy on you guys, but I wanted you both to know just how much your show means to me, and especially how much it meant to you. Love you, bros." Yeah, sometimes it was tough to read through that, but it's put a lot of stuff in perspective for me. I just, I don't know.
It's just it's kind of weird. I mean, it's not that we know them, but it's it's
I feel like
kind
I know
it's kind of like we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when something like this happens, it's just sad.
You guys just cheer us on. I feel like we are a part of your heart, and you're a part of our heart. That's kind of the way I feel. And Kelly, wherever you're at in the world, in the deep, deep, deep universe, I know you're still here, and I know you're still there, wherever it is. Rob and I are thankful that you gave us the opportunity to come into your life, and we're grateful that we were able to put a smile on your face. So this episode is dedicated to Kelly and her battle with cancer. And I know that if I know the people that listen to this show, they would say, just keep on making everybody laugh. They wouldn't say, just be sad for 2 hours. They would say, keep making everybody laugh. And as much, this is kind of funny for a second, but while we were recording that, there was a random track that popped in, just a loud, nasty fart. I think that's Kelly's way of saying, you guys are fucking assholes. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, we couldn't leave that part in there.
And we didn't want to leave it in there.
We had to fix that.
Yes. But, so guys, just think about Kelly for a second. Think about, if you have a loved one that's lost a battle with cancer, or someone that's going through it. I recently lost a family member to cancer. It's bad, man. It's vicious. It's just a giant question mark, and it's tough. So just, think about that for a second. Whether it's shooting good vibes or praying for someone, just, try and put that out there. Put that energy out there.
Yeah.
So let's follow it up with what Kelly would want. We got a funny newspaper article for you real quick, okay?
Right.
This is something I got to click on real quick.
Okay. Good old hyperlinks.
Yeah, it says, after 15 days of pulling a nearly 400-pound sled across the treacherously windy Antarctica, Colin O'Brady was hungry. His willpower was depleted. Quote, I woke up during the night feeling overwhelmed and ganged up on, my defenses down, O'Brady wrote in his new memoir about the expedition The Impossible First. He was the first person to ever travel by foot all the way across to Antarctica.
Yeah, fuck that. Don't sign me up for that.
Absolutely fuck all that.
No thanks.
He'd embarked on a daring mission alone and unaided by kite or resupply, trekking across the southern continent on skis. It was at the time a solo voyage no one had ever completed without quitting, dying, or being helped along by a kite. And O'Brady's food rations were a critical part of his strategy for what he hoped would be a successful initial crossing. Packed up with him were special gooey, these like 1,200 calorie Colin bars, or I would like to call them colon bars.
Colon bars, yeah.
Created specifically for him and his trek by a sponsor standard process. He had carefully portioned out how much of the bars he would be allowed to eat each day, but that faithful night in his tent, things did not go according to plan.
So 1,200, that's like a meal for me.
It is.
I can't portion that out throughout a day.
O'Brady ate about 2,000 calories in one 3 a.m. binge session in the middle of Antarctica.
Uh-oh.
Quote, I was seized by a wave of hunger that made me ravenous and a bit out of control, O'Brady wrote. Still half asleep, I grabbed the duffel bag with my food supplies and ripped it open, then grabbed chunks of colon bars and stuffed them into my mouth. The high-fat mix of coconut oils, nuts, dried cranberries, and cocoa powder in the power bars was designed to more easily fuel O'Brady's 8,000-calorie ski days on the frigid and windswept ice. But the bars were not designed to be eaten in masse after midnight. O'Brady probably ate about 2,000 calories worth in one 3 a.m. gorge.
Ugh.
The next day, he woke up feeling sick and knowing he had to have ration what he ate that day to make up for the binge. His stomach started to gurgle even before he finished packing up his campsite, and he felt so uncomfortable that he pressed a hand to his belly several times as he packed his sled and prepared for another day of trekking. When a new wave of rumbling gurgles rolled through, my gut grabbed my mind entirely, and I tried to fight back by focusing on things outside myself, O'Brady wrote. His indigestion worsened. Eating too much, eating too fast, eating high-fat foods, and eating when you're stressed out are all associated with a range of uncomfortable symptoms, including nausea, bloating, heartburn, and even diarrhea or constipation. There was no containing the pain anymore. After 6 hours of hiking in near minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit, O'Brady suddenly felt what he called a wave, one that would not stop. He had been fairly regular until that point on the trip, going to the bathroom every morning and then staying dressed head to toe in snow gear all day until he could stop to set up camp for the night and go to the bathroom in a sheltered vestibule. O'Brady decided it would be best to wait until the evening to take off his jacket, overalls, and base layers, and get fully undressed and go, but his body had other plans. Quote, I thought that I'd get relief if I was able to pass some gas, so I tried, he wrote. Unfortunately, more than gas came out. I was relieved and disgusted at the same time. O'Brady had brought just one pair of underwear for the 54-day trek, prioritizing space and weight. He put some weight in his fucking underwear right there, didn't he? O'Brady had 6 hours more of trudging through the snow and wind before he could stop and set up camp, properly evacuate his bowels, and clean up inside his pants. Every step would now be accompanied by sticky chafing.
Oh my God, no.
The only thing worse than shitting your pants is shitting your pants in Antarctica.
With like 7 layers of clothes on, mashing it into your ass.
This is the truth. Making matters worse, he packed only a single pair of underwear for the 54-day expedition. Quote, I bring 220 pounds of food to one pair of underwear, O'Brady told the Business Insider. It was a calculated move designed to prioritize food rations and gear over comfort. I'll be filthy at the end. He had no idea all the ways that would be true. It was all very humiliating, he wrote in his book. 38 days later, a much skinnier O'Brady made it to the other side, ending the journey with a stunning final 32.5-hour ultramarathon finish to the edge of Ross Ice Shelf. The first thing he did was not to find fresh pants. Instead, he celebrated the success with tears, a beaming smile, and a call home to his wife to say, "We did it."
I'd about to have dragged my ass through the snow. Like a fucking sick dog.
They were talking about my wife's grandpa. They said he was walking through the house the other day. He said he stopped with his walker. He said, "I think I got a fart." And then he said, "Oh, shit my pants." Took off. 96 years old. "Ah, shit my pants." And now I'm going to play what we were what interrupted us during the what Kelly sent from wherever she's at. Let me precurse this real quick. This is last night. Mm-hmm. I sent Rob a Snapchat.
Yeah.
And it was me farting, but it was a fart that really took off on me.
Yeah, it echoed the walls, shook this foundation.
And then you can hear my wife in the background telling me to fucking excuse myself. So here it is. Hold on. Okay, here it comes. I got it dropped in here.
There you go. Jesus.
You hear Stacy there at the end tell me to excuse myself?
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking air gun.
Yeah, hold on here. We'll do it again for you.
Jesus. I think you blew your ass cheeks off on that one. You better pick them things up out of your underwear.
She told me to excuse myself. She doesn't like me acting like an uncivilized animal.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Speaking of shit in your pants, this episode is about mel'shole. And some of you probably wondering what the fuck I'm talking about.
Been there before.
Have you now? Oh, mel'shole. Sorry, you guys. It was 17 and a half minutes there of random nonsense. And now maybe or maybe not a few quick words from our sponsors.
What we do.
Yeah. But mel'shole is a paranormal phenomenon from the Washington State region that was brought to fame via Coast to Coast AM.
Love it.
But then there was some, most of the shit you hear on Coast to Coast AM, you say, that's fucking stupid. Or in Rob's case, he says racist stuff because that's what.
No.
No, I'm just kidding about that. We gotta let the racist stuff die.
Yeah.
We gotta let it go away.
I can't keep following me everywhere I go. It's just my voice, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The Coast to Coast AM, it's an oddity nighttime show on AM radio that covers all this weird strangeness of the world that doesn't involve a husband shitting his pants.
It might. Who knows?
Yeah. So this was a call that came in via... Well, it started via fax. This is back in 1997. Art Bell he recently passed away, but he was the original voice of Coast to Coast AM. The popular syndicated late-night radio talk show received a fax from a man named Mel Waters.
You know you fucked up when you received a fax.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
What have I done now? Hell, I think, I've definitely fucked up this time.
A fax.
A fax machine, right. So this fax comes from Mel Waters. The fax explained that Mel had what appeared to be a bottomless pit. And by bottomless pit, no, I'm not talking about your mother. I'm talking about a giant hole in the ground. A bottomless pit on his property near Menashtash, Washington. You think I said that right?
I don't know.
Manastash? Manastash.
There you go.
Monastash, Washington. Soon thereafter, Art booked Mel on his radio show, just like any good radio host would do, where Mel explained what would become known as Mel's Hole.
Gonna go down the street and stare into Mel's Hole.
You're probably wondering why I'm on this radio show. I've got the biggest butthole that you've ever seen on a man. I like to put pickle jars in my butthole.
Oh, man.
I shit in the pickle jars and I put the pickle jars back up in my butt. It's like butthole inception.
You ever shit in a pickle jar and shove it back up your ass before, Rob?
I have not.
You're a fucking liar,
That
dude.
might be what I do this weekend.
You're lying about the Daytona. You're lying about You're lying about the pickle jars, man. If you've ever shit in a pickle jar and shoved it back up your ass, send us a message on MySpace. MySpace.com/Uncle Rob's Cabin. That's not funny, is it?
Oh, fuck. I don't even know what's going on anymore, man.
Yeah. Pickle jars don't fart enough. Put shit in the pickle jar, shove it in your ass. Okay. Mel was interviewed over the phone, and at the time of the interview, he was not at home, but in the town of Ellensburg, Washington. Mel had bought the property a few years earlier, and the previous owners had owned the land for over 30 years prior to that. The neighbors knew of the hole quite well.
I know all about my neighbor's hole.
That guy's like 400 pounds. He definitely shits them. I don't want to know anything about my neighbor's hole. And would regularly dump their garbage in it, but the hole would never fill.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Mel, just dump about shit in your hole. Gotta get rid of these pickle jars. It was a round pit with a stone retaining wall surrounding it and extending down about 15 feet below the ground surface. Beyond the wall, the hole bore through dirt and bedrock, and from there, darkness as far as the eye could see. Mel had never met anybody who could remember when the hole was not there. So,
well, I remember when that hole wasn't even there.
I remember back when you were a boy and you were shoving them pickle jars up your butthole. We all thought you were going to be a fucking fairy, but
You might want to check your living room after that fart. You may have made one of those in your floor.
I definitely opened up some type of fucking time portal for sure.
You definitely have a demon living in your ass now.
So Mel's hole, okay, let's set this up for a second.
Okay.
He's got this property. He's got this huge fucking hole in his backyard. The neighbors come and dump shit in it. And as it's endless. It never, there's no end to this fucking hole. I'm trying so hard not to make mom jokes after every time I say hole.
Right.
The hole
Bottomless
was
hole.
The hole was endless, just like your mom's. That's what I want to say right there. Man, there seemed to be nothing other than reason to indicate that the pit had a bottom either. No matter what you dropped into the hole, you would hear it. You would never hear it hit the end. So they would just lob shit into this Mel's hole, and you could never hear the stuff land. Not a splash, not a crash, nothing. No noise from the top seemed to echo back either. God damn, this is a big old fucking hole.
I can't hit the shallow end of this hole no matter what I do.
what's your net worth? Oh, I got about $60 in my wallet, and I got a big old fucking hole in my backyard. Got no idea how deep the fucking hole is.
Man.
I watched my neighbor Larry. He threw about 58 lawn chairs in it from the banquet hall. Didn't see a single one of them when we were done.
Couple jars of poop.
Did you know I could shove a pickle jar up my ass?
Yeah, man. There were other oddities as well. Animals feared the hole. I'm not making this stuff up, dude. This is really fucking on here. Mel's dogs would follow him everywhere. They were loyal and trustworthy, just like a good couple. He's a good boy. He likes Mel's hole. They were loyal and trustworthy, but they would never approach the hole. Sorry for that fucking noise. My wife's taking a bath, which is actually a pretty good habit, so I'm just gonna roll through it.
Okay.
All right, we're back. We waited for her to get done running that bath water so we could keep the professional standards on this show because we don't want to mess those up. Do we, Pickle Jar Rob?
No, we do not.
All right. Okay. There were other oddities as well. I think I already read this part, or I'm going to read it again.
Go ahead.
Animals feared the hole, Rob.
Except for gerbils.
Animals were terrified of this hole. Mel's dogs would follow him everywhere. They were loyal and trustworthy, but they would never approach the hole. That's one thing that some advice I've taken my entire life is never approach the hole. If Mel attempted to pull them toward it by the leash, they would dig their paws into the ground and resist.
Why would he ever do that?
Get the fuck over here. I better throw you in the fucking hole.
And it wasn't just Mel's dogs either. Nobody's pets would allow themselves near the hole. They did say there was a guy that lived down the street named Cemetery Terry, and he would try and bring his iguana to the hole, and the iguana wanted nothing to do with Mel's hole.
I bet.
So if any of you have any contact with Cemetery Terry, we'd love to catch up with him and speak to him about his experiences with Mel's hole.
Yeah, he's been dipping us lately.
He has. And there's another story. This is usually when I tell you I'm about to tell you a story, you brace yourself for some fucking bullshit. But this is really from the research I got.
Okay.
There was one specific hunter in the area, and he would he hunted all around the land, and he had a good dog with a very distinct collar. I'm not sure what color the collar was or what it was, but this dog had a very distinct collar that couldn't go get off the shelf somewhere.
Just anal beads?
Anal beads, yeah. Fucking
like those metal ball necklaces I used to wear in the 6th grade.
exactly those rusty, nasty balls.
Yeah.
But the owner, the dog had reached the end of its life, and it passed away from natural causes. Mm-hmm. And they had very, very, very hard soil that year, and they had he couldn't bury the dog, and he didn't want to burn it. So the next best thing he thought of to do was take it to Mel's hole and throw the fucking dog in the hole.
Chuck it in Mel's hole.
You were a good boy. That's why I'm going to disrespect your name and throw you in this goddamn hole with all these other pickle jars.
You're going to be falling forever, boy.
On seats. If I hear your fat, furry body go splat, then I know this motherfucking hole got a bottom to it, unlike your mama's hole.
So this guy throws this dog in the hole. Okay? Like 2 or 3 days later, he's out hunting or he was out doing something in the woods again where there was other people around. And this guy swears up and down he's seen his exact dog, the exact same collar, running through the woods, assisting another hunter retrieving things throughout the woods. Same exact dog, same exact collar, just days after he threw his fucking dog into Mel's hole.
Oh, man. Mel's got that magical hole.
Hey, where'd you get that fucking dog, man? You're freaking me out right now. Where did that fucking dog come from?
I would have pooped.
I'd have pooped in my hand, threw at the dog. I'd have dropped my pants and got out my travel packet of peanut butter.
Get over here. I'll see if this is my fucking dog or not.
So that's pretty weird, man.
That is really weird.
Could be real, could be fake. I don't know. I'd say it's 120% real.
No doubt.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Eventually, Mel's curiosity got the best of him, and he decided to do some other experiments. Rob and I experiment sometimes.
Not while I'm drinking.
Oh, sorry.
I was about to do a spit take.
Oh. Call my dad tonight and ask him if he's ever 69 with another man before. People seem to enjoy me calling my father.
Yeah.
There was some positive from that. So
definitely.
We'll call him and maybe. He's probably asleep. He goes to bed early.
Yeah.
I don't know. Daytona 500's on. He might
true.
Might be up fucking raging. He's not listening to this shit show. I know that. So Mel, he was a former shark fisherman. Of all the cool jobs you could possibly have, that's one of them. He knew that he could determine whether or not there was water in the pit, provided he had enough fishing line to extend to the water. He simply strung the end of his line through a roll of Lifesavers candy.
Yes.
And lowered the line down.
That's how you catch me.
You want some candy? Mel let the candy hang at 1,500 feet for long enough to let the candy dissolve in the theoretical water, and then he lifted his line back to the top. The candy remained.
Damn, 1,500 feet.
There was no water at 1,500 feet. I don't know.
Jeez.
What was that, like 40 or 50 miles? I don't fucking know.
That's pretty deep to not have any fucking water. That means it goes down way farther than that.
Mel's next experiment was to lower a 1-pound lead weight down to the pit, and when he reached the end of his spool, he would simply tie on a new spool of line and lowered that one as well. Good thinking.
Yeah.
Spool after spool after spool. It's a lot of fucking string, dude.
No fucking way.
Mel lowered into the mysterious cavity until he had used 80,000 feet
Holy
of fishing
shit.
line over 15 miles worth of fishing string. still not hitting the bottom. People
Oh
called
my
in
gosh.
people called in after he talked about these experiments, and they said that there was, there might have been some errors in using that method. One person said that there was a chance the line had already hit the bottom and simply remained taut under the pull of its own weight. Another person said that if at any point the total weight of the extended line exceeded its own strength, which Mel was sure that it had, then under known physics, the line should have snapped by now if it had not hit the bottom yet. And I would think 15 miles worth of fishing string would probably outweigh the strength of the line itself.
You would think, yeah.
One suggested weighing the used line and dividing the value by the weight of a single foot of line. Another suggested using radar to determine the pit's true depth. One gentleman actually suggested throwing a live cat.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Anyone got a cat to spare? Yeah, he said,
Could you just imagine that? Poor pussy.
Throwing a live cat down the pit to listen for it to stop crying out in terror, which Art Bell did not like this suggestion.
God rest his soul.
God rest his motherfucking soul. Art had a few ideas of his own. He suggested finding a volunteer to be lowered into the pit to report on what lay below. Look,
No thanks. No thanks.
Mel expressed, "You ever seen them throw a cat in this hole? This is not someplace I want to be."
Hey, while you're down there, can you get my pickle jars?
I dropped about 15 lawn chairs down there. The price of scrap has really gone up, and I'm really addicted to crack. So if you could bring up some of them lawn chairs, I'd love to take them down there to the scrap yard, turn them in, and buy myself some crack. Got about 15 garbage bags full of pop cans in the back of my Ford Ranger. I think that was our life. That was our life purpose. We should have been scrappers. We just drive around.
Man.
You would not believe the faces on these people, because I leave for work at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That is prime scrapping time, bro.
We got too many teeth.
The scrappers are out at 2:30 in the morning. And I just drive by and I'll just roll down the window and stare at them. And they're like, "I'm just out there looking for food." They make shit up. And I'll call the police on them every single time because I don't want them pieces of shit in my neighborhood. I have a nice neighborhood and I like to keep it fucking clean, I don't
They're
want...
just scrounging for crack money.
They are. And the other day there was like 2 Pinterest moms out there. I could, like 25, 30-year-old moms just digging through the trash, probably looking for art projects.
Probably.
Just out whining, shit like that, drinking some wine, digging through people's trash. And I knew that specific day that I had probably put about 60 pounds of used cat litter in my trash. So I was really happy with them. I'm like, "Keep digging. There's a 24-karat gold chandelier at the bottom. Shove the light bulbs up your dirty fucking buttholes." There was, I don't get no patience for the scrappers.
Nah.
It's sour art for me, my friend. I don't like it.
I get it.
Shoving turd-filled pickle jars up your butt, I enjoy that, but not the scrapping.
Yeah, it's a good old-fashioned pastime.
But yeah, so Art suggested lowering someone down there, like from the Sandlot, which I think is probably not a good idea. Mel expressed concerns that there might be unknown dangers further into the pit, like high temperatures, extreme air pressures, toxic heavy gases, like you guys heard earlier in this episode.
Maybe scorpions.
Fucking scorpions with Mountain Dew and shit.
You never know.
Have you tried the new sugar-free Mountain Dew?
No, I have not.
It tastes like you made something in between Diet Dew and regular Dew. That's sugar-free Dew.
Huh, okay.
There. It's doable.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Classy.
Nevertheless, despite these concerns, one caller quickly volunteered for the job, though no serious plans to allow or considered by Mel. Mel himself said he wouldn't want to be lowered down there because the rope could break. And one piece of nugget that I found during my research, this hole was almost on top of, right next to, the Hanford nuclear reservation. So there's no telling what kind of funkadelic wild shit was going on down in Mel's hole.
Yeah.
Those Yeah, anytime you bring the nuclear stuff into the question, there's some fuck shit going on.
Oh,
Rob
definitely,
Dog.
definitely.
Yeah, there's brothers and sisters with one eyes fucking each other. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, that could be why it's so deep.
And whenever I travel through New Mexico, I've said this before, everyone there looks like they're part of a science experiment. That's one thing that we don't have any New Mexican listeners. And
Not at all.
And if we do, they're not from New Mexico. They just fucking live there.
There's like 6 people that live there.
Because there's no one born in New Mexico.
No.
I know this.
No.
Albuquerque's kind of a big city, though. May have upset some people.
Nobody listens from Albuquerque.
That's
It's
fine.
okay.
If you're from Albuquerque, we are sorry.
We're sorry your eyes are so close together.
Albuquerque doesn't count as New Mexico.
No, it's its own thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Art asked Mel if he would jump down the pit if he contracted a terminal illness. What a dark question.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick. If you got your test results back and you were HIV positive, would you launch your lifeless corpse into the hole on your property?
In fact, Mel said that he would do that if... Well, to that, Mel said yes. In fact, he even stated that instructions to have his body disposed of into the pit were spelled out in his will.
Wow.
So he was really excited to get up inside that hole.
Good for him.
Art also came up with the idea of allowing the government to dispose of radioactive waste into the pit for a nominal fee, but that was only if it was proven to be bottomless. Like
you can fill my hole full of your waste anytime you want, buddy.
You can come here and dump your plutonium in my hole as long as you keep on dumping cash into my bank account.
At one point in the show, Mel claimed he dropped more than one television vacuum tube into the pit, hoping to hear it implode. Art warned him that after having admitted that, he might get into some trouble for polluting the groundwater. Mel assured him that the water in the area remained perfectly pure despite years of waste disposal. There was some, I think this website's called Hideous Monsters or something where I got the research. I'll cite it in the episode description, but there was some things that he picked up, some strange things that were discovered after the first interview. So everything we just went through was during the first interview with Mel.
Okay.
Picture was provided. He looked just like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, he did. Good for him.
On air, Mel sweared on the Bible that his story is true. So
because that has to be, undoubtedly a fact.
The hole was 9 feet wide. Mel had placed a metal lid or gate over the hole for safety reasons and locked it. Mel also had a wife. So he did talk about his wife a little bit.
She looked like Willie Nelson too.
Yeah, she did. That's nasty. Mel used a mechanical counter to keep track of the number of feet that he lowered into the hole. Mel grew medicinal herbs on his property. Injectable marijuana, maybe. Mel had a hobby of making belt buckles and selling them at local markets. And this is very important to remember, that he was an avid belt buckle maker. Say that 10 times fast. Belt buckle maker. He was a belt buckle fuckle maker. Mel had once found a P-38, a Nazi gun, on his land and gave it away to a landlord as a deposit.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Let's make a deal. I know I'm about $1,200 behind, but I've got this Nazi gun right here. How many months of rent will this Nazi gun get me?
Good old Nazi gun.
Mel had found a Chinese traditional New Year's lucky money envelope containing American dimes, and he used them in some of his homemade belt buckles. There was also a whale bone stuck in a tree in Ellensburg. Okay. That is very important to keep in mind, that in Ellensburg, there was a fucking whale bone in the tree.
Okay. It's so random.
And I saw the picture of my whalebone. They mean a giant dork, a big old whale dick, is hanging up in just swinging around.
You want to see my whalebone?
You want to see my dork?
My dork.
That's what a whale dick is, isn't it?
Yeah, sounds right.
A dork? Let's look it up real quick.
Okay.
Dork, whale. I think I'm right about this one.
Yeah.
As a whale's penis... A whale cock.
Urban Dictionary never fails.
Okay, I guess it's been disproved that dork has nothing to do with whales. Okay, I don't fucking like it. I'm taking that off Google. I'm submitting that to Mark Zuckerberg. I'm getting that taken off of Google.
Report it.
The day after the broadcast, okay, things get a little sticky for Mel. Mel returned to his property and was blocked by uniformed people claiming that there was a plane crash and Mel could not enter his property for the time being.
Shit. You know something crazy's going on when that happens. Right. Mulder and Scully there.
Mel didn't believe them as he saw no smoke or other evidence of fucking plane crash.
Yeah.
He was then warned that a, quote, drug lab
Oh my gosh.
could easily be found on his property if he didn't turn around. Did you see that? Do you see that video that's going viral right now? It's the guy at the police station with a camera. He's one of those First Amendment guys, like, you don't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the cops are outside, and the detective comes outside. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And then the guy with the camera starts.
He's giving him all the questions. Yeah. He's like, that detective didn't know what to fucking think, man.
Oh, I don't like those videos. Usually upset me. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the fucking point? Just
Right.
give it a rest. Call the cops when you need them, and leave them alone when you don't need them. It's that simple.
Mhm.
But this guy's like, he says,
You been drinking today?
He says, "What the fuck are you doing?" "Where are you going right now?" He starts asking the cop all the questions that cops ask people that are up to no good in the middle of the night.
He had no idea how to react.
I know, dude.
He was so
He was
he was out
definitely-
of his
He was
element.
discombobulated
Yeah,
for sure.
he was caught off guard completely.
And then he caught up with the
He
dude.
said, "I'm asking the questions here."
He caught up with the dude's coworker. He said, "Do you know this guy to drink on the job?" And the guy that was getting in his cruiser just like, no. They were so fucking out of their element. I loved it. So the cops told him, they said, "If you don't go away, we can find a fucking drug lab on your property and make you go away."
That's so sketchy.
Mel threatened to go to the press after these threats that these officers or government officials proposed to him while they were on his property. They offered to lease the property from him for $250 per month.
No,
And-
no. Reread that number.
$250,000 per month, which Mel said, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that deal."
You could throw my wife down the hole for that much.
"Oh, you want me to take a shit in the hole before I go? How many shits you want me to take?
I'll poop there every day.
I'll fill it up full of jizz if you want me to. I'll jerk off in this hole for the rest of my life." This episode of the Brohio Podcast is sponsored by one of our favorite sponsors, Blue Chew. I know you guys remember back a long time ago when things down there worked a lot better. Let's talk about sex for a second, guys. And I'm not talking about just sex. I'm talking about good sex. You can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed if you use Blue Chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. The good thing about Blue Chew, you can take them anytime, day or night. They're ready when you're ready. They're chewable, they're convenient, they work up to twice as fast as a pill that you swallow, so you can be ready whenever someone else is ready for you. And if you think you could benefit from some more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in a line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're a lot cheaper than the pharmacy, and best of all, there's no awkwardness. Right now, the Brohio Podcast has a very special office for all of our listeners. Go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code BROHIO, and all you got to pay is $5 shipping, and I promise you guys, I'm not lying, Blue Chew has been the difference for the delicious Snickalicious, and it can be the difference for you. To go to BlueChew.com, that's BLUE, chew.com, use the promo code BROHIO. They're going to send you the first shipment free. And if you send a screenshot of your order to brohiopodcast@gmail.com, we'll send you some free Brohio sticker swag. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the Brohio Podcast. And it only gets a little bit more America than the Brohio Podcast. And that little bit of America is Duke Cannon. Can a bar of soap possibly Be patriotic. That's a lot to ask. But the folks at Duke Cannon have created superior quality grooming goods for hard-working men that are tested by soldiers, not boy bands, and they partner with active duty military to develop new ideas and review products. Anything that doesn't meet the high standards of Duke Cannon or the soldiers doesn't happen. And you will feel like a bald eagle in mid-flight when you open up this box of American-made products. For $25, they got the beer and bourbon box of big-ass bricks of soap, 4 10-ounce American-made soaps. They've got the big-ass beer soap made with fresh squeeze, Deschutes IPAs, big American bourbon soap made with Buffalo Trace, big-ass beer soap made with Old Milwaukee Premium American Lager, which is a sandalwood scent. Yes, Duke Cannon really puts beer and bourbon in the soap because this is America. They also have the solid clones, which is my personal favorite, $20 to $25 each. Duke Cannon solid colognes are the alternative to offensive sprays that leave you smelling like you were attacked by the perfume lady at the mall. And let me just say, Duke Cannon did send Rob Dog and I some products to test for ourselves, and the solid colognes are the absolute deal breaker, guys. I put a little bit on my wrists, a little behind my ears, even put some through my beard. This stuff is incredible. It's made with natural and organic ingredients, or orgasmic ingredients. A 1.5 ounce tin can lasts a good long time, even with multiple applications per day. The Bourbon Solid Cologne offers a woodsy oak barrel scent inspired by the rack houses at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Most importantly, guys, Duke Cannon is committed to giving back to the men and women serving our country. That's why 5% of net profits are donated to causes benefiting veterans and active duty military. And we love our military men and women here at the Brohio Podcast. So when you're using Duke Cannon's big ass brick of soap, and these bricks of soap are absolutely freaking huge, guys, don't be surprised if you start humming the national anthem. Visit Duke Cannon, that's DUKEKANNON.com, and use the promo code BROHIO for 15% off your entire order. Free shipping with orders over $35. A range of Duke Cannon men's premium products are also available at your local Target store.
We would like to pay you $250,000 a month for your hole, but you gotta fill the hole completely full of pickle jars full of shit.
Well, you're in luck. You are in luck, my friend. So they paid him to relocate, and where did he go? No other place than Australia, our favorite place, and I was so close to doing the Australian Snowtown murders this week, but I came across Mel's Hole, and I said, this is the one.
It snows in Australia?
It does, yes.
Huh.
Mel gets a full taste of Australia, but they did help him, quote, they helped him move to Australia. Art Bell, the host of Coast to Coast, did confirm the relocation and that Mel contacted him from an Australian phone number. So the dude wasn't lying. He was really in Australia. This is back in the late 90s. It's kind of hard to, confuse this shit. They let him bring his dogs and some of his medicinal plants with him, completely sidestepping regulations. They paid him, as promised, regularly and on time every month between March of 97 to December of 1999.
Damn, that's a long time.
So if you move to Australia and you're getting paid $250,000 a month, what are you going to do with it? Mel, he worked on a wombat rescue and research.
It's always...
Oh
god, it's so good.
What the fuck is
fucking wombat?
What's a wombat?
Is that a Pokemon?
I choose you, Pikachu. Yeah, it's definitely a Pokemon. Although if I was given $250,000 a month, I wouldn't opt for the wombats. I would go with the rat titties for sure.
Fuck, dude, I don't know what I would do, but I wouldn't be hanging out with wombats.
I would dig a new hole and sell them that one too.
Right.
You guys think that last hole was badass? You can check out this one. It's worth about $750 a month.
Oh, a wombat rescue and research.
You walk up to this hole and rub your dick on it, a genie will come out of it. Will Smith genie.
That'd be studying drop bears out there for that much.
Yeah. So he opened up a wombat rescue. What a dumbass. Oh, man. So, but this was something that Mel always wanted to do, and he spent most of his money on the wombat rescue. But then he had to travel back to America to visit some family. Mel returned to the U.S. in December of 1999 to visit his family, and while he was here, he also appeared on Coast to Coast AM again. The government then served him legal papers implicating him as being in violation of building codes on his property.
Oh, gosh.
And his land was seized.
Of course it was.
After helping his nephew move, Mel got on a bus in Tacoma, Washington, and headed for Olympia. There was an altercation of some type, which is kind of unclear to me, on the bus, and the police asked Mel to give a statement during the altercation. Mel said no and refused to give a statement, and then he had to go back to Olympia, to which the police said they could give him a ride in their police van to where he was trying to go so he didn't have to ride the bus. After Mel got in the bus, the police van, that was the last thing he remembered of that trip. 12 days later, Mel woke up in an alley in San Francisco.
Oh, shit.
And he had definitely had a lot of men coming his butt. Anytime you wake up in an alley in San Francisco, you got to worry about what kind of sauce has been dumped in your back end. What kind of man glaze has been cracked off in your bum. So he's on this police van. He's out of it for 12 days. He wakes up in an alley in San Francisco, which, as if waking up in an alley in San Francisco isn't bad enough, it begs the question, have you ever had a man come inside you before?
Not in San Francisco.
Not different. San Francisco. And he had been badly beaten, he reported. His molars were missing.
We don't want the poop. We don't want the poop pickle jars.
Yeah, you just wake up with your fucking molars missing.
I wish someone would knock me out and take my wisdom teeth right now. But
that's happened to me, but fuck. My molar teeth are gone, but I remember that happening.
What would you take that from a person for?
Well, thanks. If you're gonna really fuck them up, take like their front teeth.
You keep on being fucking funny and fucking around, and we'll take your fucking molars. You're gonna take my what? Gonna take your fucking molars.
They're just making dice out of them.
There was evidence that Mel had been hooked up to an IV as well. Mel's homemade belt buckle had been stolen.
Oh, damn it. You take my molars, that's one thing, but you take a man's belt buckle, you really fucked up.
There I was in an alley in San Francisco. I woke up and my molars were missing. As if all that wasn't bad enough. This motherfucker stole my belt buckle. You've never seen a broken man until you've taken his homemade belt buckle. This is the story of Mel's hole. You like it?
I like it.
Okay. So they took his homemade belt buckle. Art Bell hooked his dentist up with Mel. And Art Bell's personal dentist fixed Mel's holes in his mouth from his missing molars. And this is sad, all the money that he had gathered in his bank account from renting out his hole was now missing from his bank account. His bank account was wiped out. Mel's wombat research facility was dismantled and his employees were all laid off.
Think of all the good he was doing with that wombat center.
I've been cleaning up wombat shit for about 2 years, thanks to Mel. Paying my bills. What am I going to do now that they closed off my fucking... I got laid off in Australia. Cleaning up wombat shit.
Well, I'm looking at a wombat right now. It's kind of a mixture between
I think it's
like
world's...
a koala bear and a fucking raccoon with a fucking coconut head.
It's one of the world's biggest rodents.
Rats.
Yeah, it's like a rat.
Look at it.
Big old motherfucker. I would fuck that thing right now. I don't care.
It's cute. Look at that little thing.
It looks like a groundhog almost.
Yeah.
Like a groundhog mixed with a koala.
Kind of like a beaver without the tail.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Oh my fucking god. Holy shit.
That's a big old boy right there.
That's a big guy.
That's a big boy.
He's thick.
Mel's nephew bought him a bus ticket back to Washington. Mel reappeared on Coast to Coast AM to tell everyone what had happened. Mel then took a trip over to Ellensburg to look for someone who might have bought a matching belt buckle from him years earlier. Sure enough, he found someone with one of his belt buckles.
Oh.
And we go back and we remember now that these belt buckles that he had made, he would fit them with custom coins. Or not coins. He would put these coins that he'd found inside these belt buckles.
Right.
So while they were examining the coins from this new belt buckle that he found this guy that had one of his belt buckles, they get the coin out of it. They're looking at the coin. Mel noticed that the dime was minted in 1943, even though there were no dimes in 1943 with Roosevelt's face on them. Furthermore, every American coin is marked with a letter that indicates the city in which it was minted. The dime was marked with a B, even though no city which has ever minted U.S. currency has ever begun with the letter B. The owner of the buckle brought the coin to a coin dealer who could not explain it but offered to buy the dime for a very large sum of money. The man decided to think about the offer for a while, but a few days later, the Treasury Department came to his house and confiscated the coin from him.
He should have sold it when he had the chance.
You guys aren't here from my poop pickle jars, are you? You're probably here for that 1943 B dime, aren't you, you fucking assholes? Richard Hoagland, a hyperdimensional physics theorist, later suggested that the coins might have come from a parallel universe.
All right.
Oh, God.
Now we're talking.
You're fucking 6 hours into your shift, hungry as fuck, need a Snickers, you go to the vending machine, and all you got are these fucking dimes from parallel universe, and you can't get the Snickers bar.
Man, that'd be so sad.
I need real dimes. I don't need these parallel universe dimes. God damn it. Fucking dimes. Mel's former wife, at this point, has now completely vanished without a trace, and Mel is unaware as to what his former property looks like now, or who's caring for it. He asked Art if he knew anything about the Terra server. Mind you guys, this is 1997. This is not Google Maps. This is not Apple Maps or whatever. This is 1997.
Yeah.
The Terra server is a database of public domain aerial imagery and satellite imagery. Okay. It was made available online in December of 1997, 8 months after Mel Waters first appeared on the radio. At this point in the year, which was 2002, before Google Earth, Mel Waters told Art Bell's audience live on the air that, according to his nephew, Mel's former property, where the hole was, had been blotted out and deleted from public domain imagery.
Just like Area 51.
And he said this live on the air, so then you have all of these internet dweebs start going fucking crazy after he says this. By the end of the following commercial break, Art's listeners had found the satellite image, which suddenly made Mel's crazy story seem like it might not be so imaginary after all, after they discovered, indeed, parts of his property had been blotted out, and they couldn't see it from the satellite imagery. Art then testifies that after an earlier interview, a TV camera crew that was sent by Coast to Coast went up to the Ellensburg area and saw a lot of evidence that the military had indeed been there in the area for no reason. Now, Mel relates another piece of the puzzle. According to him, he talked to a lot of people at a truck stop near that property.
Any of you fat boys looking to get your dick sucked out?
Usually what I do at the truck stops.
A couple lot lizards.
I know, you see, you got your butterfinger right there. How about I slurp that butterfinger out of your butt?
Ain't nothing sweeter than trucker butt, bro.
You got a butterfinger, but do you want a poop finger?
I'm about to have a poop finger.
How about you tickle my prostate, buddy? Milk it.
Grab a hold of my dick with that butterfinger and give me a Milky Way all the way in the back. Hit that little fleshy bubble up there inside my butt. I know truckers have bad prostates and hemorrhoids and stuff.
Yeah, man, sitting all the time.
Sitting
and shitting.
Sitting on a donut. They got to sit on them pads, man.
Yeah.
Keep your butthole lifted off the seat. That's miserable.
Fuck yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
I flew for 5 hours, and I was ready to put some baby powder in my butthole after that.
And a whole tube of Preparation H up your ass.
Yeah. not even still inside the tube, the sharp corners and all. This is kind of off topic, but the edges on like a tube of toothpaste, those are kind of sharp.
Yeah, like metal. Right.
Yeah, they are sharp.
Yeah.
And they had this guy when I worked at the prison. He came in there for suicide watch, and part of suicide watch was I had to make him get completely naked,
right,
and then give him a suicide smock, which is usually made of cardboard, or they had really heavy blankets that you couldn't tie up in knots.
Right. They're like all Velcro.
And he came in and he was like, "Man, I'm so sorry, but I got razor blades in my butthole."
Oh shit!
And I said, "You got what?" And they would break the razor blades out of a Gillette. It doesn't look like a traditional razor blade. It's just a sliver of metal.
Right.
And he had them wrapped in saran wrap and put up his butthole. And he said, "I'm going to have to get these out for you, ain't I?" And I said, "Yeah, buddy, we're going to have to get those razor blades out of your
Jesus.
butthole." And he got them out without hurting himself. And I took him and I put him in my lunchbox for when no one could see me later on.
Let's be real. Did you smell them?
I did. See, I will smell anything on my body, but when it comes to smelling somebody else's stuff, I can't. It makes me fucking want to gag. I can't smell other people's farts. I can't. I love the smell of my own farts. It just proves how healthy and like my body is just operating at an optimum level.
Yeah.
But then I said, "Is there anything I can get for you before we put you in here?" And he said, "Can I just get a cup of water?" And I said, "Yeah." So I got him a cup of water. The dude was really sad. I felt bad. You could tell he's one of those dudes that just like had a hard fucking time.
Right.
And you could tell he was mentally just wasn't all there and possibly had some issues. And I said, "All right, buddy, I got to put you in the cell." And part of it, suicide watch, you have to sit there and stare at this guy in the cell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Someone is on suicide watch, watching him, making sure he doesn't kill himself.
Yeah.
And I think one of the items we were allowed to give them was a little plastic toothbrush and then a tube of toothpaste. And so I gave him a shit. And he was sitting at the edge of the bed, kind of with his back turned towards me. And I was watching him. I was doing my job watching him, and I could see him making like a rocking motion. And I said, "Turn around, let me see what you're doing." And he said, "I'm just so tired of everything I gotta deal with in this stupid fucking shithole." I said, "Me too, buddy. But I gotta make sure you're not fucking killing yourself."
Yeah. And
dude, sure as shit, he turned around and he had sawed like into his vein with the corner of the toothpaste. Like the sharp edge of the toothpaste.
Yeah.
He was over there sawing on his wrists, and he'd made really good progress in trying to kill himself with the sharp point of a tube of toothpaste. So, for all you motherfuckers that think it would be easy to shove an entire tube of Preparation H up your butthole, oof, it would hurt. It would not feel very good.
Oh, man.
And I told him, I said, I feel bad right now. That's pretty fucking impressive there, guy. You did a good job. He's like, "Well, you took my razor blades away from me."
Well, yeah.
For good reason. I want to see if you could kill yourself with toothpaste. If someone handed me a tube of toothpaste, and they'd be like, "Can you kill yourself with this?" Maybe. If I could just not use it and then go and blow in my wife's face in the morning, that would definitely get me killed.
That's true.
Morning breath is fucking dragon breath, dude. So after Mel started to talk to these truckers, they told these truckers all had the same story, that they had seen a black beam of what can only be described as anti-light shooting up into the sky periodically from the area where the hole is located. Another trucker friend of his recalled delivering a huge quantity of fiber optic equipment to a warehouse in Ellensburg to a group of Israelis.
Oh, shit.
And another trucker claimed to have delivered large crated instruments from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in San Francisco, California, to the same warehouse. And the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory works on projects for the U.S. military. And where did he wake up after he got his shit pushed in the back of that police van? None other than an alley in San Francisco. So, that's kind of weird right there.
Quinky dink.
At this point, a fan asks Art a very good question. What are the odds of a single person finding two bottomless pits in a single lifetime? They have to be too low to calculate. But Mel says he found a second one. $250,000 a month. I'm going to find fucking holes.
You better
anywhere.
fucking believe it.
I'm going to be out there like Shia LaBeouf digging holes. And isn't that him?
Holes?
Digging fucking holes, bro.
Yep.
So on another episode of Coast to Coast AM. Coast to Coast AM is super popular on the western side of the United States. Mm-hmm. It's popular on the eastern side, but it's exceptionally more popular on the western side of the United States. That part of the country has a lot of unused public land and Native American reservations. Given the subject matter of the show, people who are very interested in bizarre phenomenon are regular listeners. A group of Native Americans in Nevada heard Mel on the show and contacted him through email. So, anytime I'm expecting correspondence from a Native American, I check my electronic mail. That's how that works out, right?
Right.
And they invited him down to the reservation to discuss his arts, crafts, and knowledge about wild plants. Mel went down to Nevada to visit these impoverished people in early September of 2001. They had done a lot of work with plants and natural medicine and were interested in Mel's research. Mel said that the plants that worked the best were the ones he grew on the land with the hole. He described the plants to them and asked if they were familiar with the variety. They then brought him to an area of land where another hole was located. It was in the middle of a village on public land where Basque families had settled. The Basques, by the way, are a small and generally isolated ethnic group of people who originate from a small region in Europe. These Basques were raising sheep in Nevada, okay? The Basques say that this hole had been there at least as long as them, and they'd been there since the 1800s.
Oh, man.
They considered the pit a spiritual point. This hole, like Mel's hole, is 9 feet wide, only this one has a metal collar around it rather than a stone retaining wall, and the metal lining extends down as far as the eye can see, which is a little bit different.
That is different.
The metal rim also produces a field of warmth, though not heat as we normally know it, around it. So, like maybe warmth on your inside. I'm not sure.
It gives you a boner?
It gives you a really rock-hard 2.5-inch boner.
Oh, man. I want to go there.
This hole also had strange sound-canceling properties, much like Bose $300 headphones. You'll recall how you could never hear an echo or objects hit the bottom of Mel's original hole. Well, this new hole would cancel out all sound made directly above it. Further, if you struck the metal rim with any object, it would produce not a single sound. Animals were also afraid of this hole as well, and a black beam had been seen coming from this hole, just as some had witnessed around Mel's hole in Washington. Mel and the villagers decided to experiment. They got peyote from the desert, and they all started to fuck the shit out of each other. That is not... my mind took off on me for a second right there.
So many holes.
That's
so little time.
We're really getting crazy with the holes here. This hole...
The only hole I can fill is your butthole.
That was the song in every 90s show, every 90s movie. And it always... What was the movie where Jonathan Taylor Thomas was an Indian? You remember that one? He did some Indian stuff at the end of the movie.
I don't know. Only Indian movie I can think of from back then was Indian in the Cupboard.
Good movie.
You remember that one?
Yeah. That was one of my most favorite books.
Yeah.
I love the movie as well.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. The first experiment they tried after they fucked the shit out of each other was to lower a bucket of store-bought ice down into the pit as far as they could, 1,500 feet. Meanwhile, they kept another bucket of ice with them on the surface as the control ice.
Gotcha.
And they waited for the control ice that they had up on top of the surface to melt halfway.
Okay.
Then they hoisted the pit ice back up to see how the two compared. The ice in the pit did not melt. However, the ice was now lukewarm, and even stranger, it continued to remain solid even while sitting in Mel's hands. They decided to try harder to melt the ice by cooking it over a fire pit. Let's just light this fucking ice cube on fire and then go watch the Daytona 500. We're done fucking these Indians. Rather than melting, the lukewarm ice caught on fire.
No way.
It was a heat-producing flame, but not a large yellow flame, more like a light flicker. Mel says the bucket of ice continued to burn for months.
What?
And he presumed that it was still burning at the moment he was telling the story on the air. One guy even took some of the burning ice home to put in his stove, and it's been keeping his cabin warm in the wintertime.
Holy shit.
Mel's hole, okay, guys?
Man, you need that to calm down on your electric bill.
There's no fixing my electric bill. They repeated the bucket experiment, and it only worked about 1/3 of the time. They got mixed results trying to replicate the same experiment. One of the Basques wanted to be lowered into the hole himself.
Hell yeah.
Stupid fucking Indians. They talked him out of it. I've read the statistics, and Native Americans are alcoholics for the most part. It's very sad. I've watched documentaries on it, but they are very sad people.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
We kind of did ruin their time.
Yeah. You go give me that motherfucking land. He took it. We took that shit.
You can get a casino out of it, though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know anything about that stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be lowered in a hole over it.
Yeah. Well, they talked him out of it.
Okay, good.
They talked him out of it because of what happened to the ice. The ice turned into a flaming ball of fury and wouldn't go away. Instead, they lowered one of their sheep into the pit.
Okay, there you go.
The sheep wouldn't have it. It kicked, it screamed, it panicked, and like all animals, refused to go near the hole. It put up such a valiant fight to the point that it successfully stopped its captors from succeeding with the plan as expected. But the Basques were determined, so they hit the fucking sheep between the eyes and they stunned it enough to put it in a crate with a cable attached for lowering, and then brought it over the hole.
Just like they did to the poor fucking goat in Jurassic Park.
God,
they fed it to the raptors.
When I was a kid,
or was it a cow? How's a cow?
It was a cow.
Yeah.
We caught a catfish when I was a kid when we were walleye fishing.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, fuck it, we'll take it home and fillet it and eat it.
Uh-huh.
So we got this thing out of the ice, and this catfish was a bad motherfucker. Yeah. He was still flopping around in the driveway.
They're big nasty fuckers.
He's flopping his tail around, sending dirt and rocks all over the place.
Yeah.
And my dad's trying to fillet it. It's still flopping around. We didn't have a cleaver to just chop its head off, so he's like, Jesus fucking Christ. He goes and picks up this rod that we used to use to keep the gates secured in the cement, the driveway.
Yeah.
And he picked this rod up, and he fucking hit this catfish right between the eyes. And all it did was piss this fish off. Like, my dad's a big dude. Yeah. He got forearms like Popeye. This is about 20 years ago. And he hit this thing, dude, and it was just like, it just made the fucking worst snorting sound ever. It just kept on going. It was just like, kept on flopping around. So I picture them hitting the sheep with a fucking fence post right between the eyes.
Now there's just a catfish with a piece of rebar stuck in its forehead swimming around the lake.
Yeah, and they hit the sheep, and they say the sheep spoke up, and he's like, I think this is a bad idea. I don't get it. You get that one?
No.
Oh, I think you guys put me in this hole is a bad idea. Oh, but the Basques were determined, so they knocked the sheep between the eyes and stunned it enough to put it in a crate with a cable attached for lowering.
Poor sheep.
And then brought it over the hole. If you've ever dangled a sheep over your hole, please send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. The sheep came to just before they got it into the hole, and it went berserk inside of the crate, knowing that it was what was about to happen. It was producing the sort of blood-curdling lamb scream that you couldn't tell Hannibal Lecter about. Once the crate with the lamb inside was positioned directly over the pit, all noise stopped. Remember, anything placed over this specific hole made no sound. The lamb was still shaking the box violently, but over the hole, not a sound could be heard coming from the sheep.
That's terrifying.
The descending sheep struggled inside the box as the curious amateur scientists, of
course.
Bull, come. They lowered it down, but by the halfway point on the length of the cable, further movement, if there was any, had ceased to be obvious or noticeable. At the end of the line, 1,500 feet, Mel and the villagers felt a strange and fuzzy vibration in the metal rim. They left the sheep below for a half hour and then began to hoist it back to the top. The box was definitely not moving anymore. Okay, this is a very weird fucking story to begin with.
Yeah,
this is where it gets really kinky, okay?
Okay.
Everyone looked good from the outside. Everything looked good from the outside of the box, but inside the sheep is now dead.
Okay.
It looked normal on the outside. So a Basque butcher decided to dissect the animal on a nearby table. Inside, it looked like the sheep had been cooked.
Okay.
The villager notices a strange gel surrounding an enormous tumorous growth inside the sheep. They removed the tumor, which appeared to be moving like a pulsing fleshy sac.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. He cut open the tumor and a fleshy creature emerged that looked like an 18-inch long cross between a fetus and a seal. And in my mind...
Fuck? Oh my god.
Hey, you boys looking for me? I think, in my mind, it looks like a dog dick to me. A giant pink dog dick.
A fetus in a seal.
It had flippers and all, but the eyes looked human. It was alive and connected to the tumor with an umbilical cord.
Hey, buddy, grab my flippers and get me the fuck out of this sheep.
Hey, who has the fucking pickle jars? The creature observed the humans, disconnected itself from the cord, and gave Mel a feeling. I feel that Mel might have had too much marijuana at this point. He gave Mel a feeling of being in the presence of a miracle. One of the Basques suggested killing it. They did not. The thing crawled to the edge of the table. It looked up at Mel, who seemed to feel connected to it in some way.
I forgot to tell you guys, but I fucked this sheep before we put it down there.
I really feel like this thing could definitely fit in my butt. I definitely feel it.
As the Mel felt compelled to pick it up and put it on the ground. The goo left on Mel's hands smelled like ozone.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck that smells like.
Farts. I don't know.
As the tiny miracle laid on its belly, it looked up at the humans surrounding it and studied each of them and each in turn as though it had intelligence. They stood there staring at this being for 2 hours, and they felt hypnotized. Mel describes this being, its gaze, as the most compassionate look he's ever witnessed.
It looked like a big old slimy dog dick, but goddammit, did it touch my heartstrings?
The creature makes its way towards the hole, and Mel feels compelled to help it to the top of the metal rim. The creature then gave the men a slow nod,
God,
and then turned around and plunged itself back.
Later, boys.
The witnesses were deeply moved and emotionally drained by the experience. They ultimately decided to dump the remains of the sheep back in the hole. Okay. Mel claims that in late August, prior to going to Nevada, he had been diagnosed with a lethal form of esophageal cancer.
Oof.
They gave him 6 months to live. After returning home from Nevada, the cancer was gone. Mel believes the creature had healed him. Before leaving Nevada, Mel says a Basque elder told him that he had always believed the hole to be spiritual in nature. The man seemed to be not to be surprised about the story of the creature. This Basque elder, before going off to bed, closed an object in Mel's hand and told him to put it away. Mel put it in his pocket without looking at it. Later, Mel reached into his pocket and pulled out something that this old man had once found in the area, stuffed in a little red envelope. It was a 1943 Roosevelt dime. In December of 2002, Mel Waters appeared again on Coast to Coast AM for an interesting update. He said helicopters had been flying over the village with the hole regularly. Mel has since been informed that the metallic collar around the new hole becomes invisible when an observer reaches a particular distance away from it. It seems that the mysterious 1943 dime disappears from view at 15 feet away and does not show up on film nor digital scanner, which is really fucking weird.
That is weird.
Hold on a second, I gotta text the old lady back real quick.
Sure.
She's looking for my sweet Levins. Mel also updates us about the strange burning ice, which is pretty exciting. He lets us know that the man who began using a can of ever-burning ice as a heat source in his wood stove for the cooler months. So the guy that took it home to... Fucked up.
Hell yeah, man.
This Basque guy was noticing that in his house he was always thirsty, which I have that problem right now. It just means your kidneys are failing. And the air was always dry, and even his skin began getting very dry. He would place a kettle of water on top of the stove to humidify the air, but one day he noticed that it looked like the steam from the stove was lingering around the stove and even being absorbed by it.
Whoa.
One day, this man came home and found that the stove had crashed through the hearth and through the floorboards of his cabin and was sunken a foot into the ground below.
Wow.
Faced with the dangers of the frigid air, the cabin owner patches up his stovepipe and continues to use the stove as it sits below his floor to heat his home.
Okay.
A week or two later, the man returns home to find that his entire fucking cabin had disintegrated into piles of dry wood dust.
Wow.
So he leaves the pile behind and moves in with his brothers. They fuck the shit out of each other. A month later, he returns to find that the stove has now sunken 5 feet into the ground, leaving a glassy, smooth surface to the hole it creates.
Oh, shit.
At this point, the man contacts Mel and tells him the story.
It's creating another hole, man.
Yeah, we got to make about 14, 15 more of these fucking holes. Mel decides that the best course of action is to contact one of the mysterious officials who was one of his contacts when he was moved to Australia. That the man acted deeply troubled and concerned and insists with great urgency that Mel explain to him where the cabin was and how to get to it. The cabin owner gets in contact with him and shows them where it is. The Basque, the Indian, then decides to hide somewhere in the hills nearby and watched what is done about the sinking stove. A team is dispatched to deal with the sinking stove. He can't tell whether they are military or scientists or what they are, but they brought a lot of heavy-duty construction equipment to the site, including cranes. It never seems to be enough. They continue to bring heavier and heavier equipment in their attempts to extract the stove and its contents. They're having trouble lifting it even with the multiple cranes.
Wild.
Eventually, they drop some chains into the ground and pour water over top of the chains. With multiple cranes, they were then able to hoist the stove out of the ground and load it into what was described as the biggest truck he'd ever seen in his entire life. And they hauled the stove away.
Just fucking Bigfoot just pulls up.
I got it.
This ice reminds Mel of the fictional substance Ice-9 described in Kurt Vonnegut's book Cat's Cradle. Ice-9 was a form of water molecule that freezes at a high temperature and converts surrounding water to the same form of molecule. It's a theoretical substance that could freeze all the water on Earth and turn people into statues. Vonnegut got the idea from a scientist he'd worked with, and there are scientists today who think it isn't impossible. Mel has since been under the impression that he was being followed, saying that people he wanted to talk to they always end up finding him, even though he's not easy to find. Therefore, he has decided not to return to the hole, fearing that somebody might find their way to it through him. The Basques have informed Mel that the creature that had emerged from the dead sheep, the little fucking dog dick, had returned multiple times since it dove back into the hole the first time. The Basques said they have found a way to communicate with the creature. It speaks to them through one of their boom boxes.
Just beatboxing.
Boom, 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 yes, yeah. The Basques tried recording the dialogue, but the only thing that showed up on the tape was not dialogue, but a series of random and pulsating tones. Mel theorizes that the creature may be a rock flyer, a creature legendary to Native Americans which live beneath the earth and can travel between multiple earths. The creature warned the Basques about the burning ice as well. It told them that the ice can and would destroy the earth in a very short amount of time if improperly used.
That picture had to look like this thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think.
The blobfish.
Yeah. They anticipate that greedy and undisciplined use of the ice would probably occur in the world. The creature says that there are intelligent beings on other worlds who anticipate that the human race will destroy itself through nuclear war.
Sounds about right.
And they plan to move in once we're gone and use the ice on this planet. Mel is told that when the burning ice is discovered in the universe, it's almost always improperly used. With that, the interview ended, and nobody has heard from Mel Waters since.
Huh.
How fucking cool.
That's pretty fucking dope.
There was another one, another person that came forward in 2005. This is Kimberly's hole. So for those of you that weren't perking your ears at Mel's hole, well, now we have Kimberly's hole.
We got something for you, buddy.
Art Bell had another guest in 2005 named Kimberly. She had a similar story about a hole like Mel's hole in Manitoba, Canada. One of her ancestors from her father's side was in the Canadian military and was stationed in the area in the 1700s. He claimed the land after the natives showed him the hole, which according to their legends was where the earth spirits dwelt, and that those spirits would occasionally come to the surface and could be heard from time to time. Kimberly's father eventually inherited the land in the hole, and her family would go on camping trips from time to time. When she and her brother were in their early teens, they fucked each other. They were permitted to go near the hole. They were permitted to go near the hole by themselves. Kimberly describes the hole as being roughly 30 feet in diameter. God, that's a big old motherfucking hole, Kim. Circular, ad-line with a cream-colored retaining wall which resembled finely polished marble, which was so hard that it could not be damaged or scratched when struck with other hard materials, and which did not resemble any other stones in the region. The retaining wall did not extend above ground level, but Kimberly and her brother had to dig down a few inches at the hole's edge to measure the thickness of the wall, which she judged to be about 2 feet thick. God damn. And was just as smooth on the outside as on the inside. They would throw things down the hole, even flashlights, and found no indication of how deep the hole was, or even if it had a bottom. There was also about a 50-yard circumference around the hole in which the sounds of wildlife could not be heard, not even bugs.
Oh, man.
However, outside of the silent zone, sometimes animals could be found mutilated with their organs removed, and if the writer understands correctly, the organs were set to the side of the mutilated animals. One night, she and her brother slept near the hole, and they could hear a humming noise, maybe mechanical, and that she could feel it in her body vibrating.
Oh.
That was actually her brother's dick. That was not the hole. It was a hole. It was her hole, but it was her brother with a cock ring. What a disgusting fucking story. If you're from Canada, please turn us off, because this is filth. This is absolute filth. Her ancestors also claimed to have seen lice in the sky near the hole, and would find strange artifacts left near the edge. He says her family still has a little smooth ebony pyramid that was found near the hole, and that they also found little metallic objects. Kimberly says that the hole, which is still owned by her family, cannot be reached by car, but that it requires about an hour-long hike to get to it.
Okay.
So,
let's go find Kimberly's hole.
Kimberly's hole. I don't want to find it. I'm a married man. Happily married. Been plowing that hole for a long time.
I just want to throw something in it.
Can I just throw something in your hole real quick?
Real quick.
I'm the pickle jar guy.
You may have heard about me.
Oh, man. So, that's the story of Mel's hole.
Man.
I feel like that was a really good one.
That was a really good one.
There's some wild shit going on down there in Mel's hole.
Oh, Mel.
There was undoubtedly some fuckery in Mel's hole.
Blobfishes and
Blobfishes, dog dicks.
fucking poor sheep.
Let's play a little game called How Big Is It?
Okay.
Mel. How big was Mel's dick? Looks like Willie Nelson. Keep that in mind.
Okay. I'll be a big old hairy dude.
Big old hairy?
Big old hairy one, yeah.
I've seen guys.
Like his dick has a beard.
That makes me wonder when I see guys that are. I'm not a hairy guy. I cannot grow hair at all.
I am, and I hate it.
I don't have arm hair. I don't have back hair. I'm just like I'm like a baby with a slightly bigger dick than a baby. Is what I'm like. Just a bald.
You're lucky.
Yeah. But really super hairy guys. I'm talking like hairier than you do. Like people you can run your fingers through their back hair and grab it like a dog's mane. Okay.
Yeah.
How much pubic hair do they fucking get?
It has to be crazy.
It has to be and the nasty thing about pubical hair, it traps all the sweat and it fucking stinks,
does.
dude.
Yeah.
I tried a science experiment one time. This is during the summertime. I went 3 days without showering with a unshaved privates.
Mm-hmm.
My fucking balls smelled like dead fish at the end of the 3 days. Then I took a shower, shaved my privates, and I went 3 more days without taking a shower, but I had shaved privates.
Okay.
My balls still smelled like dead fish at the end of the experiment. So I think the key is you got to shower to keep your balls from stinking.
That's your takeaway. Oh man, I was really expecting like a come to Jesus moment.
Oh yeah, shave your balls. They don't stink.
I know that's not true. So.
If you work on a road crew cutting weeds in the middle of summer,
Oh yeah, your balls are gonna sweat and stink regardless.
Balls are gonna stink.
Yeah.
And when we were getting off the plane the other day from sitting in those leather seats, I told my wife, I said, babe, I got swamp crotch. She said, what the fuck did you just say? I said, I got swamp crotch. She said, what is that? I said, my bits are sweating. I'm all leaky down there. It's hot. It's like a fucking Stouffer's lasagna. It's hot and It's meaty and it's bleeding.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
It's chapped and raw.
It's a Stouffer's lasagna down there in my crotch.
I used to always say whenever I would, it was summertime or whenever I worked at a restaurant, we were in the kitchen, I used to always say we were making ball soup.
That's disgusting.
It's disgusting. And then this one girl, I said it, and this one girl was like, well, I'm making clam chowder. And I was like, oh.
You got to get her fired. You got to reach out to HR and make her
I was like, don't ever say that again.
I don't like that story at all, Rob.
No, it's so bad.
If you've ever made clam chowder, please turn us off right now. We don't want you listening to this show anymore. We don't care about your life experiences. We don't care about what you've done, what you've accomplished. We don't want you. But please
go jump in Mel's hole.
Go jump into Mel's hole. And if that's not good enough for you, tumble out the other fucking end. Go jump in Kim's hole. And if you come out the other end of that, then you come write us an email. brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what was inside Mel's hole. This is one of those episodes, it kind of stinks like shit, but there's some things to it that are kind of, it make you think, like the Google's, the overhead imagery stuff. And there's just some weird stuff that sticks.
Yeah, there's definitely some weird shit going on.
The dogfish crawling up out of the hole, that's not very believable, but
I hope that this whole thing's true, though.
I do, too.
Just fucking cutting. See, if it was me, and I hate to say this, I would have wanted to put more sheep down there. Just to test to see if it keeps happening.
Hey, your bull come. How many sheep you got that we can put down in this hole? What time's the Daytona 500 over with? We boys, we get down in this motherfucking hole.
I want to just give all those blobs little friends. All them little seal dogs.
The best part of the entire story, they said the blob crawled up to the edge of the hole.
Nodded.
Turned back. Gave him the old cowboy hat nod.
Tipped its beanie.
Jumped in the fucking hole. Never to be seen again by Mel.
Just jumps and just whee.
Well, what'd you do at the hole today? I saw something shaped like a dog dick. It nodded and winked at me.
Cured my cancer, though.
Old Bill, he threw his dog in the fucking hole and saw it running around a few days later.
Man, that would have fucked me up.
That's trippy.
That is weird.
Hey, Bill, is that your dog? Oh, that's his dick. That dick. Put that dick inside of a sheep.
Oh, shit.
Why, that sheep got a dog dick in it. Now, who gets the sheep, me or the dog? All right, thanks for listening to this episode of the Brohio Podcast. Hopefully, I think my wife is hailing me to bed because she's had a monumentally bad week, and she needs my sweet embrace.
Hey.
But I think the plan is to give you guys multiple episodes this week.
Yeah,
we
somehow,
have
some way.
one lined up, online dating horror stories.
Yeah.
So we're gonna throw that in there in the middle of the week, hopefully. So
yeah.
Thanks for listening so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Tell them the good news, Rob.
I think I might love you.